Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be taking a look at something pretty wild.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Fibrodysplasia Ossificans Progressiva?
I have, actually, yeah.
It's FOP for
Oh,
short, and
right.
it's basically this rare genetic disorder where your body, well, it kind of turns soft tissues into bone.
Wow.
Yeah. Our source material today is an article called Pasted Text,
Okay.
and we're going to take a deep dive into what FOP is, what
Yeah.
causes it, and all that.
Sounds good.
So what makes FOP so fascinating and honestly kind of terrifying?
Well, I think one of the things that makes it so fascinating is that it really makes you question how much we actually know about the human body.
Yeah.
Like here's this thing that just completely rewrites the rules of how our bodies are supposed to work.
Absolutely.
And it's a stark reminder that we still have so much to learn.
That's so true. So pasted text tells us that FOP is caused by a mutation in a gene called ACVR1.
Right.
Can you kind of break down what this gene normally does and how this mutation just throws a wrench in the whole system?
Yeah, so basically, ACVR1 is really important for bone growth and development. Think of it like a conductor leading an orchestra,
Okay.
making sure that everything is in sync and happening at the right time.
Gotcha.
But with this mutation, the conductor kind of goes rogue, starts composing a whole new piece of music.
That's a great analogy. It's almost poetic in a kind of scary way, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean. And it gets even more interesting because this mutation doesn't just randomly turn everything into bone.
Oh, really?
It seems like it's triggered by certain events,
Okay.
mostly injuries.
So like even a small bump or a fall could set off this bone formation process.
Exactly. Even something as minor as a bruise can trigger bone growth in places where it shouldn't be.
Wow.
It's a really complex process. Researchers are still trying to figure it all out, but we do know that even minor trauma can lead to new bone growth,
Okay.
which can then lock up joints
Right.
and restrict movement over time.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But it also kind of makes me wonder, like, if we can understand how this gene goes haywire,
Yeah.
could we maybe use that knowledge to help people with, severe bone fractures or other injuries?
That's a really great question. And it's actually one that's at the forefront of a lot of FOP research right now. Could we harness this kind of misplaced bone forming power and use it for good? Could we use it to speed up healing or even regrow lost limbs?
Man, that would be
It
incredible.
would be a game changer for sure.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different avenues researchers are exploring.
Like what?
Well, there's gene therapy, where the
Yeah.
goal is to kind of deliver a corrected copy of the ACVR1 gene.
So just replace the faulty gene.
Exactly. But that's incredibly complex.
I've got.
There's also research into developing drugs that could specifically target and modulate the activity of this mutated ACVR1 protein.
So basically trying to tone it down a bit.
Precisely. The hope is to find a way to kind of dampen its overzealous bone-forming tendencies.
Gotcha. So are scientists optimistic? Is there a real chance that we could see these therapies become a reality someday?
It's tough to say for sure. There have been some promising results in preclinical studies,
Okay.
but translating those findings into safe and effective therapies for people is a huge hurdle we're talking about, manipulating a very fundamental biological process.
Right, of course. I imagine there are a lot of potential risks and ethical considerations, too.
Absolutely. We have to be very careful about unintended consequences.
Yeah.
Interfering with the ACVR1 pathway could disrupt normal bone development
Oh,
or
wow.
even trigger bone formation in the wrong places.
So to kind of wrap things up, what's the key takeaway here for our listeners?
I think the biggest takeaway is that FOP is a window into how intricate and complex our bodies really are.
Yeah.
It highlights the incredible power of our genes and how important that delicate balance is for our health.
And it shows how even a tiny gene mutation can have massive effects on our lives.
Exactly.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. If any of our listeners are as captivated by FOP as we are, I encourage you to do some more research. Learn more about this remarkable and, frankly, mind-boggling disorder.
It's definitely worth a deeper look.
The research is ongoing. Who knows what breakthroughs are coming next?
Exactly.
All right, everyone, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll catch you on the next deep dive. See you later.